Hello, it's Cindy Fodor here with Stamp the Love, and it's Make It Monday. And I have a fun new stamp to share with you tonight, and I'm so excited. It's one that I've seen in the new catalog. I finally purchased, and now I'm finally getting to play with it. So I'm hoping to show you some fun ideas with that tonight. Before I get started, let me just check this and make sure that we're streaming okay. If you pop on and say hello, that will be really helpful. Okay.
Hello, it's Cindy Fodor here. It's one that
All right, there we go. It looks like it's working. At least that camera is working. So my husband ordered a new camera for me for my tutorial videos. Excuse me. And playing with that today. It's still not perfect, but I'm hoping that we can get by. Oh, I'm yawning because I'm bored. I need to see some comments, okay? All right, get me excited. There. Hi, Charlene. Oh, yes, sweltering. It is here too, Charlene. Oh, my goodness. I think we're expecting 100 tomorrow, and that's not even counting the humidity. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. Hi, Ruth. Yay, thanks for popping on, guys, and saying hi and taking me away from my boredom. So I was going to pre-record this because I wanted to play with the camera. Well, it took a whole lot longer to mess with the camera, and so yeah, I didn't have time to record it. So that's okay. Hi, Betty. Hi, Sylvia. Just a couple things I want to remind you of before I get started, and that is, yeah, I wrote it on my notebook here, I guess, instead of, okay, whoops, as I drop everything. All right, so August the 9th is my yard sale. That's next Saturday. It's in Littlestown, and okay. So if there's anything that you want to update, to get rid of, you can ask me for a spot. Then you can earn some money for some new stuff. Let me know. I still have a couple spaces available. I'm announcing this now, but I'm going to be sending out a registration for a bingo. We haven't done that in a while. And I thought it would be a fun way to working towards my goal of the Alaska trip, and it's been a minute. I don't have a whole lot of time left. I have till the end of September. So and I feel like I'm now feeling good enough to actually add some fun things. So got to keep you guys motivated too in stamping, right? So that's going to be September the 6th. You'll see information coming out really soon about that. And then you'll also be getting information soon after we get the holiday catalog about our September or October 4th Stamp Fest 2.0. We're bringing it back. So those are the sort of the lineup. Of course, always my monthly classes, so you're always welcome to those. They are the second Monday here. The second Monday in Chambersburg, the second Tuesday here in my stamp room, and the second Wednesday in Mount Airy. So also anyone who places an order of $50 or more will get it in the mail, as long as it's by the 15th of the month, only because I run out by the middle of the month, and so I don't make any more. I want to say hi to Jeannie and Linda. Welcome. All right. So you guys came to stamp, right? Let's go over here and just see how our camera does. So I know we had trouble with the other camera and lighting. Well, this one, it actually adjusts its own light, and I was turning my lights off because it seemed to like adjust to my lights, but I think I might be able to turn some back on. I was playing with the settings in the camera. So what I want to talk to you about tonight, or show you, is this Peaceful View stamp. And I know a lot of you have seen it. Maybe some of you haven't. I'd love to know if you do. Hi, Pat and Donna. Welcome. I personally, when I saw the stamp, I was totally like, oh my goodness, there are so many possibilities with that. I don't care for the sample. I think it's too muted for me. That's not my type. I do like what they did with it here in the frame, and that's basically, I didn't even look at that. I just pulled it up here to show you guys, but that's basically what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to use some of our designer paper. And I'm not even using this set, which is the, what is that called? No, I won't be able to think of it. But anyways, I'm not even using that one. I'm using 3 other designer papers because I figure you might have one of them. And just a way that you can, even if you don't have the stamp, you can take a stamp that has a really strong outline, or a blackout like this. If you have one like our In the Grove stamps, some of those you can do the same idea with. So I'm going to show you before I start here. I'm going to show you the designer paper that I'm using. This is from, and I wrote this down because I knew I was going to forget all these names. This is from Thoughtful Journey designer paper. And these are the colors we're going to use. It looks like I got something on that. So I highly recommend using the Stamparatus or a stamp positioning tool when you're doing this stamp, because I grabbed it before I even started because I knew that I was going to want to stamp it multiple times. Number one, it's a really, really big solid stamp. Number 2, you're stamping on designer paper, and designer paper is not like stamping on our smooth white cardstock. In fact, I even noticed that some of the designer papers were a little different. Like this one feels really smooth, but there's one that I stamped on, and I'll show you. I have a bunch of samples to show you then. So what I did was I put this on here so it's a little bit away from the hinge here, and then I'm just going to position this and put my magnets on here to hold that in place. And it's going to take a ton of inking. So I've just re-inked my memento pad because, like I said, it's a solid stamp, so you really got to get it inked. You can see I didn't wash it from playing with it because it wasn't really any use to do that. So hopefully I'm not shaking the camera way too much here because it sits on my table, so I apologize for that. Let me stick this under here so I have a little more firm surface. It always helps if you have something that holds that lid for you. All right, I'm going to stamp it, but I know I'm coming back in to stamp it again. And I will tell you, I stamped every single one of them at least 4 times. So be ready. But the rest of the card does not take a lot of time because basically you're doing all of the hard stuff right here. When you get the stamping done, the design is already there for you. Now, I didn't play with this with starting with white, but you can obviously start with a white background and add some sponging and things like that. But we have so many beautiful papers that I didn't even bother taking the time to do that. I've totally missed that branch in the center there. All right, that was 2, right? Are you guys counting for me? I was making canning green beans on Saturday and picking and cooking off tomatoes, and then today I canned like, I don't know, 6 or 8 batches of pasta sauce. And I did the first batch thought I counted everything right. When I went to do the second one, I'm like, wait a second. I totally counted the first one wrong. But I tasted the first one. I'm like, it tastes good. So I'm going to go ahead and like put that much tomato juice into my second batch because it tasted good. All right, that's 3. That's not too bad. But I really want to fill in. What I really aim for is all the colors in the background that are covered by the stamping. I want them to be as muted as possible. So I feel like maybe one more will be perfect. If you have our old craft black pad, you might get away with much less. However, the problem with that is that that ink goes down into the holes, and then you might not get all of the definition that you get with this. So with this pad, I'm able to just keep it on the top of the surface of the stamp. All right, let's get this one, give this some time to go through. The other thing when doing this is giving it a little bit of time in between for each layer to dry is going to be helpful. I'm not doing that right now, but that will help you because you'll be able to put that next layer down a little bit more. I'm going to try to get a little bit more right in here. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me get rid of that. Okay. You just lay that aside. We'll pull our design out here. Now we need to trim it down. The reason I didn't do it beforehand was because I wasn't sure where the stamp was going to fall. I wasn't sure like what I wanted where, but on this card in particular, this is my favorite part right here. I don't know why, but I just love that blue. I love those little flowers and grasses growing up there. And that fence, I don't know. That's my favorite. And that's sort of how I decided on the colors for the base of the card then. So we're going to cut this down to, let's see, let me think. I'm going to do 3 7/8. So I just start out by cutting off the edges and then just deciding what I wanted where, okay? So that's sort of the easiest thing to do, keeping everything nice and square. And then we can go back and cut. We're going to need this piece, so I'm going to cut the stamping off of that, just a little bit of black ink that's on there. We're going to use that part. And then put this down. All right, I don't see any comments yet about, do any of you have the stamp set? The stamp, I should say, it's a stamp. So like I said, that's my favorite part. So I want to keep all of that, but I'm going to need to get rid of something because I got to fit it on my card front. So we got to go down to 3 7/8, and we'll just cut that off of this side. That's a cool little piece there too. And then this will be 5 1/8. All right, so there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to show you the rest of them. All right, I decided to turn this one into a fun photo. I would need this again. It's a really easy one. Just score this at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And then this will fold in. Oops. And this one will fold back. Just burnish that a little bit. All right. Then I want to put this piece in here, which I realize I didn't cut that down. I'm going to cut that down to 5 1/4. And I'm going to go and pop that in right away. Let's do the inside first. How's that sound? Oops. Didn't put it low enough. Okay, and then I have a plain white piece for writing in my card, and that's going to go right here. And then I'm using Pool Party as my layer color. So I'm going to put a piece of Pool Party that I embossed with the exposed brick embossing folder. Just because when you open this card, you want it all to be pretty. Can't just have this gorgeous piece over here by itself, right? All right, so now the front piece is going to be Pool Party. That's going to go here. And then this is going to go on top. I just want to make sure it fits before I glue anything down. Okay, that looks good. I didn't have adhesive out of my table when I was making these, so I was just using green glue for everything. So now I'm like, oh, this feels weird because I put everything together with green glue. All right, now I do want to put my ribbon around here before I put that on. And I am using a new one. This came out with the new online exclusives. It's called Petunia Pop. And hopefully you can see how shimmery it is. I think it might be with the Halloween suite, which, you know, I don't do Halloween, but there's some cool things in there that aren't Halloween. So it was so perfect to go with the petunia in this card. So let's just cut a piece here. We'll go about, I'm going to go a little bit bigger just so I don't end up too short. Now that was dumb. I cut that and left it go down in that hole. That's not what you're supposed to do with these ribbon teamers, by the way. Let's see if I can pop this baby out of here and stick this back in. You always want to leave about 2 inches hanging out so that it doesn't do that. All right, get that back in here. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to tie this across the top here. Yeah, I gave myself enough. It was hard because I definitely wanted ribbon on here, but I didn't want to cover too much of the tree. Now the tree is a lot, so it's a big tree. So I'm like, okay, it's all right. I can give a little bit of the tree away, right? But we're gonna keep it up here so that we don't lose any of the other pretty background from the designer paper. Hi, Debbie. Debbie, do you have this set? Nobody else is saying anything, so I'm guessing nobody has it. Do you have the Peaceful View stamp set yet? Hi, Melissa. Melissa popped on. All right, now for my saying, I'm using this little I'm here for you, but I'm just using the for you, okay? Let's see. I wanted to use Petunia Pop for that so that it shows up good. Actually, that's not true. I lied. I'm using black because I'm going to do something else with it. So I just want to ink the I'm for you, not I'm here. Yay, I'm here. That's what I say when I come on here, right? I'm here. Or that's what you say to me. We're here. All right, so for you, it's going to be upside down for a second. I just need some scrap paper, and I threw it away. Let me use my Post-it note here. I'm using this flower from Inspiring Imperfections too. I just wanted something that looked similar to the flower in my paper. And I'll go ahead and use Petunia Pop since I have that out. Just going to stamp that off. It's probably going to be a little darker than I want. Oh, that's perfect. And that way it will pull together from the card here. And I'm going to stick a dimensional on the bottom of this. And I'm going to put a little liquid glue, or you could put a glue dot on the top. I just want it to look like it's tied down right here. And then I might just, to keep that ribbon in place, might just pop a dimensional under the ribbon. Just going to fold it up a little bit right at the top of this and stick that there. I think most of you know I don't typically glue my ribbons down in the front. If I'm going to glue them, I glue them in the back, but because I want it to stay specifically on that spot, I'm going to put that there. Okay, so a lot of you don't have it. Melinda, hi. All right, so now we just want to glue part of this. I'm going to glue this whole side because it's going to get glued down. And then I'm going to just come in here and glue this right here. I'm afraid that I'm going to do too much if I come over here too far. And then this is going to get about an 1/8 inch border the whole way around. And I'm trying to cover that piece I have on the inside so that it doesn't show when the card is closed, but when you open it, you have this look on the inside. Okay, and then I did use some gems. Where did they go? Maybe I forgot to bring them along, but I'll show you on this card. I use the two-tone gems. They're got a purple and they've got a blue, so it's perfect for this card with the pool party and the petunia pop. So that's what I put on there. Hopefully you can see that. All right, let me show you the other cards and the design, the papers that I used with those. All right, let's start with this one. This is a similar one because it has purple flowers, but they're a little bit different. And this is also from the Journey paper. What's it called? Thoughtful Journey. So this is the card that I did with this paper. Again, I used that ribbon, just a little bow of it there. Added a little bit of a tag here. And I used the purple shimmer gems. I forget what they're called. They're different colors of purple. Thank you. Let me just go back really quick. What did I do? Did I show you? I know I had it here. The paper that I started that one with. Oh my goodness. Oh, I cut it. Duh. I can't show it to you. Yeah, I can. Let me just pull one out here. This one. Okay, so let me just go back. So this one I did with this paper. If anybody wants to save a screenshot, you could grab it right here. All right, and then this one I did with this paper, so they're very similar. And then this one, I think this is also from Thoughtful Journey. So more of a, I don't know, more towards a fall scene. But look how cool that looks. Who would have thought that that would look that good behind that tree, right? I just think it's just a fun colored background that I didn't have to take any time to do, right? And then last, but not last. Let's see. I said fall, but I'll do the fall one last. This one, I think this one is from Everyday Skies. I can't swear to that, but I'm pretty sure it's not from this one. I think it's Everyday Skies. And I used our, what's it called? Fresh Freesia. It's like a faux, well, it's not really faux. It's like a faux velour or something, but it's very soft. It ties really nice. The bow makes it a little thick, but yeah, so I just cut this to open like with a partial cut there. But you can really see the cute little bird there on that one. And this paper to me is just ugly. I probably wouldn't have thought to use it for anything, but except when you go like, oh, that would make a good sky. But look how cool that looks behind this. And this is the one that you could see it if I could get a good enough picture, but it's not smooth. And that might just have to do with the stamping layers, but it's definitely a little bit more bumpy than the other paper was. All right, and last but not least, this one is from Splendid Autumn. Unfortunately, I don't have any Splendid Autumn. I thought that it retired, but it did not. This is a piece of it, but I don't think it's the piece from here. And again, this was just a big gaudy piece that I hadn't used from the other really pretty pieces in the set that I used completely up. So I just wanted to pull out the yellow in here. I used, what color did I use? I can't remember. It's not daffodil, but it's the other C word. Thank you, Cindy. Hi, Verna. And I added our gold ribbon on there for that fall look. And I think that's it. So sorry I didn't have a piece of paper to show you for this one, but I just fortunately had that one stuck in my other stuff that I was able to use. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea. This is some of the Everyday Skies paper. Oh no, this is Splendid Autumn. Okay. Yeah, see all these gorgeous ones? I've showed you a lot of these. I love these flower ones in here, but like that one is just totally ugly. I don't think this tree would do that one any favors, but yeah, I didn't find that design in here unless, you know, no, this is different color, so that's not quite it. I think it was more, I think the piece was totally covered with all of those trees. But anyways, thank you. I'm glad that you like that. And hopefully you can use some of that same idea to remember that you can stamp on your designer paper and change the look of it. It doesn't always have to be exactly as it was. I remember years ago I got to present at convention, and that's one of the things they really encouraged us to do is take the designer paper and add stamping to it too. Stamps is what we do best, right? So just remember that if you have papers that you're not really sure what to do with, add some stamping to it and see if it doesn't take it to another level. So, well, thank you all for joining me tonight. That was a quick one, wasn't it? It was pretty quick making the cards. You can tell I didn't go like with lots of different patterns because it's a big tree. It covers pretty much the whole thing. So it's not like you can just use it, little parts of it. Although I could possibly have just used the fence part or something. I think there's so many possibilities here that you could do with this. But all right, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Have a great week. God bless.